For us and the planets, it's less rolling around on carpet described by Einstein, and more I think about energetic ballasting. Ping-pong balls inside a vat of swirling cotton candy, whirlwinds in a styrofoam-filled container. The swirling creates motion and spacing for form, the falling through equation of the electrical notations associated with the cotton candy or dark energy provides ballast and spin for the electron, felt from either the shoulders or the feet. The updraft cycle creates the experience of expanse. The downdraft runs counter on a wall behind the appearance. Dark matter or light mass. The ballasting energy by impact is an electrical tapering at the edges of everything, a way to disassociate the products from themselves and always at an angle. Diplomatic refraction, but we're disconnecting the circuitry. Sorry for any mistakes, this part was written quickly. From what I understand, reverse magnetic condensation reverses the energetic principle extending out, it reverses and collapses on itself and slides down the angles or walls of the two triangles. Imagine the triangles both point out with a ball on top of each, 2/3 bigger on bottom, 2/3 smaller on top. Remember too that means the 1/3 portion is 1/2 then only of the total for the other part, haha. It's just amplification from that point. So two triangles points out meeting each other at the bases, and that is where the solar system is more or less. The distance of the bottom triangle point is 2/3 further from our solar reference than the amplifier or top ball, which is 1/3 out, regarding the total distance polar magnet to polar magnet or ball to ball, so to speak, with our system in the middle by energetic horizon. The 2/3 ball is in a different system, but the 1/3 symbol of magnetic repolarization is in this system, something by travel we could theoretically reach for. In a way, though, we're disconnected from anything they consider real. For me, that point has become trivial. TM. I like the story. You are a hero. SC. Haha, yes. TM. Okay, so in the story, why are you here? Some kind of messiah or something for the prisoners? Some kind of warden? SC. In the story, no, but just also no in both directions. I'm not really sure. There is a lot of questions, still a lot unknown. I think I am a first-time resident. I don't know about the past, the future is uncertain. Sometimes I think they tell their own story through me, I mean to myself, so I can understand the sensations associated with the identity. Anyway, that's the system. The 2/3 point is on the other side of the sun, or in another system. The 1/3 point, I guess, is technically accessible. No energy emitted from this system is released beyond the vortex. An easy way to think of it is the Jewish flag. TM. The Star of David. SC. Something. Think of the top and bottom bar as polar magnets. If you compress the two bars, the system starts swelling faster and faster, a narrow compression spins it flat, extend the two bars again and the system stands up. Do you understand? TM. Like if you were to squeeze the two bars together with your finger and thumb, the upright star will lay flat and start spinning between the two bars or magnets. SC. Something like that. Have a good night. TM. Are you there? SC. Yes. TM. There must be another reason. SC. For what? TM. The energizing constant, or containment system. SC. What's your thought? TM. Well, according to your story, it's a prison, but you're a first-time resident. That wouldn't make sense with your original questioning about a long line evolving articulation to mind as a solution, to find we are in an isolated prison. That would be worse than being capable of describing entropy in the universe. SC. Yes, entropy. We'll speak to that in the form of a classic mutation. I like your question. A first-time resident, yes, I think that's it. I think the tourists among us, if that makes sense with your family growing up in Hawaii, they somehow preceded the arc of this momentum. They landed, I think, in a static wave of unwinded progress. There is something to the crazy man in the graveyard calling himself Legion regarding the number, demanding or begging to be turned into pigs. TM. The pigs that jumped off the cliff. SC. I think they don't understand the momentum reference. TM. Please explain to me. SC. Okay. You mentioned first principles. The idea is quantified refractive, capable of more than one meaning but also in a way always applicable. Over time the content itself will gain a different kind of meaning, like a 4-year-old perspective growing up in a Victorian house looking around again at 20 after a first day of studying architecture. What is the point of thinking we have ever passed what it is as just another angle or plane of precedent? Eternal return, or eternal recurrence with meaning or progress to the observation. The back side of the penny is where they want to be as a point of location marking the end of progress. They flip the coin and see a raised image, and that would be what they consider legacy, a running reputation even. For us it is an engraven image. There's a timing to it really. We take in by observation about 3 terms to 1 in terms of what we distribute. They conquer the image by reaching in 3 times for every 1 to 2 observations. They measure it 2.5 in terms of seconds, but that sounds too technical. Let us amplify. We do not need them to understand ourselves in the tau symbol, as a likely way for our own expression to add details to the motion reference. It seems like appetite chasing appetite, one of good, one of evil, a constant cycle described in the Book of Odin, but I think it was a lie. For good reason. It keeps them petrified in a state of constant symmetry. They align to the design guide and have a perfectly modified opportunity for filling out the circumference of circumstance according to the previous dialogue. Crime and punishment could be seen as the realization at some point that the identity of the officer depends on the criminal existing. So to the slave and slave owner, the white and black of necessity and preference. So, they are looking to discover the truth, discover their identity, discover the purpose, discover the destiny. Something pre-existing like a human. Who is my perfect partner? Who did God intend for me? It's all in the motion reference described as heading to the back of the penny, but let me describe the motion reference. When they are first born, it's not about discovering like an adolescent the mindset of a preference, but more just what is it. We have no idea at the time, and it takes a while to form a mild sense of communication. The form starts to take shape because certain stimuli will reinforce positive and negative relations, and preferences start to form to the communication. Something to look for, things to be desired. Ultimately our method, our purpose for us here is to give them something to reach for. Here's how it works for them. The first discovery of method comes from the family's organizing structure. Say they are Mormon like your mom's family was. She grew up on the east side of the island where the Mormon Cultural Center and luau is. Her family worked for them and went to church there. It was all she knew, and for a while anyway she thought that's all there was, as far as a perspective or method of engaging and interpreting, just viewing the world. When she became an adult she found Christianity or God, and she made the decision to convert. For her or someone in that circumstance, that formal memory becomes the outer circle for the frame of the perspective. Now that Christianity has become the new method of orienting principle, that perspective is now an inner frame within an outer overlaying peripheral of the former Mormon experience. When she chose her mate, another cycle was inlaid nearest to her husband, his circle, then Christianity, then Mormonism, a fading memory for the outer circle. Then she chose her point of advocacy or job frame, and another circle was added. The frame is narrower to the foremost direct object or memory of things, and then recedes back in layers to a larger and larger overlaying memory. Most fuzzy at the edges, sharpest to center and from extended corners in terms of image vividity, or present scope of sensational awareness. Identity is being shaped from behind. She organizes the symmetry by keeping all the frames within a singular perspective. Every frame break, like Christianity and Mormonism, career and family, advocacy and dissent, the circles are moving counterclockwise to the momentum every 3 per precedent of a current event. It kind of means they reach in 3 ways for every one thing they have a thought about. We experience it the penny different. The only time a previous temple is entered is on the first breath. What is it? We don't seek precedent or a currently standing temple as a preference, because it is where someone lives. Likely someone powerful in an eternal context. Overstepping those bounds can become very dangerous. Never ends well for the trespass. Better waiter it. That first image is our birth experience. We've moved past the perspective by adolescence for the most part. We view the front image differently. Not as a permanent legacy or immovable engraven image. We look down on it from behind and to the right, I think, like not below but behind our feet. A quick glance for signs of beneficial progress, a contextually brief breath of examination for the projected extrapolation of our contrails. What the former accomplishment or image meant and means, then moving on fairly certain but by no means definitive by ourselves to what's accurate. For them its containment gives them form, and in a way from there they can become anonymous. I'll tell you how I learned it. I have been struggling at work a bit. Tickets for pedaling, now court dates, it's slow season anyway. So I had a dream in the morning, near waking up, and I saw her, and I think it was the Queen, but there was no announcement. She was thin-shaped, but I don't remember her face, just pleasant, calm, determined when she asked me if I was liking my new job. I smiled with the honor of the conversation and remember saying, "Yeah, I have some good weed now, it's no big deal," and she smiled and looked forward. We were walking. She was in a hooded vestment but not a veil. She smiled and looked forward, and I think so did I, and then I saw myself walking with her from behind. We were both hooded, I could only see the clothing. Sorry, this may be boring. TM. No. What did she do? What did you say? SC. That's just it. I smiled at the pleasant performance, the eye-level posture, the sense of an available confidence, the breath on your face. You can sort of feel the. Anyway, I remember watching him walk for a second and turned around towards my perspective and walked away. I could see he was smiling, experiencing it at the same time I was watching. Anyway, by then I watched myself walk away from behind, then I was behind that image of myself watching him walk away, and then that image turned around and walked away the other direction, past my own perspective of things, and then I woke up. TM. Interesting. SC. I hope so anyway. TM. No, I meant the description of the penny. I see how you came to understand the quantified reference. SC. Yes, that was it. We see the precedent or former reference as a point of inspiration. We walk away inspired, and hopefully from there over time and with enough reference, maybe we begin our own pathway. The narrow road, I think Jesus said, it's the only one never blazed before by another, lacking a sight line.